Vamos a empezar. Bienvenidos a todos. Bienvenidos, ¿cómo están ustedes? ¿Están bien? Ok, magnífico. Bien. Pulgares arriba, thumbs up, sí. Vamos a practicar con ver y mirar y buscar. We're going to practice with those. We're going to see a little bit more background information with them. Oh, is somebody else trying? Oh, sí, Juanita is coming on in. Okay, viene. Ahora, todos están, almost everybody here. Vamos a empezar. We're going to practice. I have tried not to pack things too tight because I have a couple questions for everybody as a group that relate to what's coming up for spring. And so I can plan a little bit better. And so the things I absolutely want to do are working on ver versus mirar versus buscar, and working that a little bit, practicing with everybody and using some of those photos that you had a chance to look at, maybe taking an itty bitty quiz on that. I want to do a quick review on the article. We'll start with that to see if you had any questions about that. And I have a couple of like decoding clues. You know, when you come across a word, you say, I think I should know this, but I don't exactly know it, what you should do. And I also want to work on gustar, because we haven't really worked gustar very much. And I want to kind of start to unravel some of the things with gustar. And I hope that will not bore Tomas too much, because Tomas in this group has seen a little bit more with gustar than you guys have. So Tomas, disculpa, excuse me, I hope I don't bore you with that part of it. Okay. First thing I want to start with. Primero, tengo una pregunta para ustedes. First, I have a question for you guys. In terms of spring session, when we start to do reading, there are little books like this. A warning, they are more geared towards teenage readers. And Tomas, you have read this, so I would have to try to think of something new to send you. But there are little, this is how thin they are. And they are repetitive in the way they are written. I will warn you, they are repetitive because they repeat structures over and over. Not because they think you're dumb, but because repeating the structure starts to kind of imprint in your brain what that means. The repetition is purposeful to help you embed in your brain what certain structures mean. So would you prefer little novels like this or articles like what we had over the weekend? Is there a preference that you guys have for reading for spring? And you'll need to take yourselves off of mute if you want to comment.
I like the idea of the repetitiveness, and this is just my own personal thing, because I'm still challenged with, I recognize a word, but I can't seem to get it into context.
Okay.
I
And
agree.
that's what these do.
Yes, I
That's
agree.
what these do. Now, see, when I read it, of course, I'm coming from a different perspective. It's like, here we go. Here's this phrase again. But it's you're right, Nora, it's the context. It's the context. So when you see it a few times, it starts to really, oh, okay, it sinks in, and you have time for it to sink in. So, okay, I think we're gonna go with a little novelita, a little novel. And Tomas, I'll probably think of a different one to give you so that you're not, because you've seen this one before. Do you really want to read it again? Probably not. So I'm going to find something a little bit different for you. Because these will be things that you read outside of class. And then, but you can come into class and say, hey, they keep using the phrase, and why is it this way? And then, you know, we can have a little short explanation on that, and that's fine. Okay. Magnífico. Vamos a empezar vamos a empezar con el artículo. I want to kind of advise you first of things that you may need to have handy for class. Oh, and I'm adjusting my stuff. I would like you to have your book handy for today, el libro, because we're going to refer to it so that you see what we're looking at. And I'm going to make my font kind of ridiculously huge on the articles so that we can kind of review that and take a look at, you know, what may have been tougher to decode, what was easy. If you printed out the little article about el nuevo presidente, you may want to have that handy, or if you pop it up on a screen. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you really don't need to pull it up. And I'm busy right now getting it on my big screen in a big font so that you don't have to squint and make yourself blind trying to read it. Okay. Okay. A ver. Primero, en el subtítulo, on this little subtitle, I want to point out this little word. This is just a mini thing, quizá, quizá. Quizá you sometimes see with an S hanging off the end, quizás. They mean the same thing. Some people say it quizá, some people say it quizás. So it makes no difference if it's quizás or quizá. Yo prefiero quizás. I prefer con S with the S on the end. It's just my preference, but other people say it as quizá. 10 cosas que quizá no sabe sobre Joe Biden. And sobre is about. We could have said de Joe Biden. We could have said acerca de Joe Biden, but sobre would probably be the most common, or de would be more common, I think. So those mean about, sobre or de. We could even substitute that shorter word de. Okay. Aquí I'm going to kind of highlight things that might have been tough to decode. This one would have been tough. Joe Biden ha sido senador. Ha sido, here is, boy, unfortunately, this came right off the bat. Ha sido has been. Has been. This is a perfect tense. Lo siento. Sido comes from ser. Sido comes from ser. So I'm not going to explain to you all the convoluted things of how we get to that tense. But instead of is a senator or was a senator, it's has been. Ha sido. The ha is has. The sido comes from ser. Has been. Okay? Ha sido senador de los Estados Unidos. Fue is actually a word you should get to know. Fue es el pasado de ser. Fue is the pretérito. It's the past tense of ser. And fue is used when an action is completed, done, boom, completely over with. So it comes from ser. Fue does not look at all like ser, S-E-R, does it? No. Fue just means was. So I'm going to plug in here, in parentheses, was. And with this, there would not really be any, you cannot look at fue and know that comes from ser. Because fue starts with an F. It is an extremely irregular verb. Okay? So there's no context clue there, unfortunately, desgraciadamente. Fue vicepresidente. And that word is not because of English, it's because all that stuff came from Latin, right? Vicepresidente. Bajo la presidencia de Barack Obama. Ahora es el presidente número... ¿cuál es el número? ¿Cómo se dice? 46. 46. 46 de los Estados Unidos. Okay. And here, curiously, they put the S in quizás. Well, why did they do? No sé por qué. I don't know why. Aquí hay 10 cosas que quizás usted no conozca sobre Joe Biden. And wait a minute, this thing conozca, it looks like a verb that you do know, this looks like it comes from conocer, right? Okay. It comes from conocer, but why do we have that zeta, that Z there? Okay, here comes something that can be a context clue. When you see a verb like this, and you say to yourself, by God, I know that comes from conocer, but why does it have a Z? And why does it, and it's conocer, which is, oh, I'm gonna stick this below. Here is gonna be a context clue. Conocer, and you say, well, I know that for usted, talking about one person, not yo and not tú, shouldn't it be conoce?
Sí.
Ooh, shouldn't it be cono? I can't know. Yeah. It's lunes, boy, it's Monday. Shouldn't it be conoce? Shouldn't it be that? Why is it not conoce? Well, it's not conoce. But, so, here's the clue. When you look at conozca, you know it comes from conocer. Yes, it does. And no, they didn't use conoce. Don't worry that it's not conoce. Look at that conozca and say, well, I know it comes from conocer. So it means knows. So when I look at the sentence, there are 10 things that perhaps you don't know, 10 things that perhaps you're not familiar with. Yes, that's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is it not conoce? Don't worry about why it's not conoce. That's what I'm telling you. Go with the feeling of, I know that form has got to be conocer, because you're right. But it's got that Z thing. And wait a minute, even worse than the Z is the fact that it's a ZCA. What the blankety blank is that? Okay, it's got an A, it's an ER verb. What is going on? Okay, what is going on is that is an odd, es un animal, it is a little animal. Es un animal que se llama subjuntivo. That little thing is a subjunctive form. So don't worry that you don't understand subjunctive. Don't even worry. Look at that and say, oh, comes from conocer. It must mean you're not familiar with. That is what it means. The reason it's conozca is because of this word right here. It is conozca because of this word right here, quizás. Quizás means maybe or perhaps. And when we inject the idea of maybe, we are injecting doubt. Doubt in Spanish, and sometimes in French, but not consistently the same way. Doubt in Spanish often says we're going to change that verb to a different mood. And that means it goes into a different verb form. So don't worry, you don't have to say this, so you don't have to know how to change that verb form. You just know how to have to read it and say, oh, that really comes from conocer, it must mean knows. So when you see verbs that look like the stem of a verb you already know, don't worry too hard. You're going to get the gist of what it means. And the verb form here, conozca, changes it to, we're not sure if you know. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. Okay, so you should be able to decode a lot of verbs. You could not do that with fue, because fue does not look like ser. There's an F. Where does that come from? I don't even know where that comes from. It comes from something. Okay. ¿Entienden? Understand? Mm-hmm. So when you go through a text, when you're reading, sometimes even when you're hearing people talk, you'll hear that thing that's like, sounds like conocer, and it's a little speed bump. Just go over the speed bump and go with it. You know the general idea. That's good enough. Okay. Okay. Primero, supero. Okay, you don't know supero. Supero, aquí una lección breve. Superar, superar es un verbo importante. Superar. Superar quiere decir, that means to overcome. And super in English, super in English, super in English means, you know, Superman over everything, right? Superimpose means you put something over on top of something else, superimpose. And our use of super and superimpose is the same use of the superar, to overcome. Supero is past. It just means he did this. When you see an O punch at the end with an accent mark, it means past. So keep that in mind, that O at the end, and I need to move this muy brevemente. I need to put my Spanish keyboard in. Supero con acento with an accent mark. Let me do it. Okay. Supero. When you see an accent mark with an O on the end like that, it's usually going to signal past to you most of the time. Okay. So he, tartamudes. Stuttering. And that's a very special verb, okay? So you probably had to look that up. But you know what? If you looked up tartamudes, when you get down to this, it's not a big leap to figure out from the noun stuttering to this verb. And you know it's being used as a verb because we got the person and what they used to do, the person and what they used to do. Cuando era niño, when he was a kid. And here's another era. Here's another era, and it means was. And we're going to take a look at a couple of things. Cuando era niño, Biden tartamudeaba. Qué verbo largo. What a long verb that is. Tartamudeaba. And this means he used to. Aba. So here's another clue I'm going to give you when you read something. When you see aba or ia on a verb, that is a signal that means used to. That's all that means. It's putting it into the past, but it's saying that something happened a whole bunch of times over and over. It was a habit. Okay. Cuando era niño, Biden tartamudeaba. He used to stutter. And tartamudear es un verbo. That's a very long verb that means to stutter. And when we conjugate it with an aba ending, it means used to. Because now we're talking about somebody's childhood. Tartamudeaba mucho. He stuttered a lot. Okay, bien. I want to stop and look at era. Un momento. I want to look at era. You may say, wait a minute. Era means was. Wait a minute. Up here, we had fue, and that's translated as was. Fue sure doesn't look like era. Fue comes from ser. It is the past. Era comes from ser. It is past. Sadly, this past was means when he used to be a kid. When he was a kid, when he used to be a kid. But this was vice president, which has a very 8-year specific block of time. For an 8-year specific block of time that is over, they will use fue. For was a kid.
It's like a certain time too, right? As a kid, because you have a certain period of time being a kid. Why you?
But you see, but it's fuzzier. How long was he a kid? Well, not 8 years that you can put it in a box and say that was a certain period. Was a kid for a long period of time. When do you stop being a kid? I don't know.
Sometime never.
Yeah, sometimes never.
Never
Yes, yes.
ends.
So when you mean somebody was in the sense of used to be, it's era.
Mm.
When you mean was and you're giving it a specific time limit, it's fue.
Mm.
Now, the reason that's important to kind of make a note about or tuck it into the gray matter way back there is to know those two words look extremely different. And neither one of them looks like they come from ser, but they're pretty common. So if people are talking about an over and done with an easy to define period and it's over, you'll hear fue, it was. But if you're talking about used to be and a very vague period in the past, it'll be era.
So when you say when I was young, then you can use era.
When I was young will be era. Cuando era joven. So now this is going to expand what you can say a lot. And notice I'm not teaching you all the conjugations, just that one word. Fue. I could say cuando fue maestra en el colegio. When I was a high school teacher, because that was a specific 10-year period of time for me.
Okay.
Cuando fue maestra del colegio. But if I want to say when I was a young woman, cuando era joven, because I was young for a bunch of years, till the wrinkles came in. That's when the joven period ended. Yeah, but you know, when did that happen? No saying.
Botox safe.
Yeah. Okay, so you get what I'm saying here. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
A ver, there we go. Momentito. So, okay, a ver, entonces, let's take a quick look. Fue acosado en la escuela por eso. Fue acosado. Fue acosado. He was what?
Bully, harass, bully.
Yeah. He was, yeah, harassed, bullied. That's really the best way. You know, you might look at that as accosted. Yeah, if you make a little association with your brain. Fue acosado en la escuela por eso. But you know what? You don't know that word acosado? No importa. It doesn't really matter because you know what happens to kids who stutter a lot in school. You can assume, you could maybe guess the meaning of that acosado just from what went before, okay? Dijo que el acoso fue doloroso. Dijo, he said. This dijo is a past. It comes from decir. It comes from decir. And this, it would be hard to guess too, because decir, desgraciadamente, sadly, this is a very irregular verb in the past. So, dijo. This is a word kind of like fue and era, fue and era. If you know that dijo comes from ser, you just know it means he said. And that's it. Don't worry about the conjugations. Dijo, he said. Instead of he is saying, he said. And you know, this word like fue and like era is a good word to know. Dijo. Dijo que, dijo que, dijo que. And notice it's dijo que. Dijo que. This is used a lot. He said that. Okay, dijo que. He said that. Dijo que el acoso fue doloroso. He said that the teasing, the harassment, the bullying was painful. Doloroso comes from dolor. Tengo dolor de cabeza, my head hurts. Tengo dolor de espalda, my back hurts. Dolor is pain. So doloroso is painful. Okay, comenzó, here's another clue word. Comenzó looks a lot like it should come from Comenzar, 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 to begin, okay. When you see an O punch at the end, it turns it into past. Comenzó a leer. He started to do what? To
Read.
read. Comenzó a leer. Comenzó a leer. He started to read, or he began to read. Okay, and the comenzó just means it makes it past. That's all. Comenzó a leer y recitar.
Recite.
Yeah, recite. Poemas irlandesas, Irish poems. If you come from an Irish family, you're likely to recite Irish poems. Okay. Comenzó a leer y recitar poemas irlandeses. Así pudo vencer la tartamudez. This is another past that was kind of tough. This comes from poder. This comes from poder. But poder doesn't start with a P-O here. It starts with a P-U. And I'm going to put something in here. Poder in, succeeded, I'm missing an E. Yeah. Poder in this past tense doesn't really mean was able. Poder in this past tense, which is an over with thing, means managed and got it done.
To overcome, managed to overcome.
Yeah, he managed to overcome. He was successful in overcoming. Vencer means to conquer. Vencer is to conquer. It's a little bit different than superar. Vencer means you're getting in there and you're killing it. Vencer. He managed to conquer. Okay. They could have put in superar, but they wanted to use a different verb. Vencer is a little bit better. Vencer, vanquish.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. All that highfalutin upper tier English words that came from the Latin, that came in from the French into English. Yeah, it can help you. Okay. Hasta el día de hoy, up until this day, even up until this day, hasta el día de hoy, todavía puede recitar muchos poemas de memoria. Okay. Y aquí puede recitar, you had double verbs. Puede recitar, he can recite. Okay. Fue. Now you know fue means past. Was. Fue una estrella. Estrella, star. Fue una estrella del fútbol americano. ¿Por qué? Fútbol americano. Why do we have to include the americano in here?
Because the rest of the world, football means soccer.
All over the rest of the world, football is soccer. So really, if you want to say football and American football, it has to be fútbol americano. Okay. En la escuela preparatoria. Preparatoria is just a different way of saying colegio, high school. Okay. Biden estaba. We've got another past. Shoot, but this looks like something that you know. It looks like it comes from estar. So know that when you hear Ava, it's used to be. So just know that when you hear an Ava, it's used to. Estaba used to be. Estaba en el equipo de fútbol. He used to be on the football team. En el equipo de fútbol americano de su escuela preparatoria. Jugó. Jugó sadly have that accent mark. And it's like, wait a minute. It doesn't look like juega. Juega means he plays right now, but he is in his 70s. He does not play football anymore. It does come from jugar. okay? It's past. So it means
He played.
jugó como, yeah, he played. So you know, jugó looks like jugar, and jugó, it just means past, okay? He played. Jugó como receptor abierto. He played as an open
Receiver.
receiver. Okay. Su entrenador. Su entrenador, his coach. The word for coach is trainer. Entrenador. Entrenador es trainer. Afirmar is to affirm. That o is telling you past. Afirmó. Affirmed sounds kind of highfalutin, doesn't it? Clarified, verified, yeah. Que era, oh, here comes era again, that he used to be. Que era, he used to be, that's from ser, right? Que era uno de los mejores receptores del equipo.
One of the best.
That he was, he used to be. Okay. Aquí presente, yay, presente. Tiene dos perros.
Has 2 dogs.
Muy obvio, ¿no? Biden y su esposa, la doctora Joe Biden, tienen dos pastores alemanes. Two German shepherds. The word for German shepherd, because shepherd is pastor, and the name for that breed. And the word for breed of a dog, by the way, is raza. Raza means race, R-A-C-E. Which sounds kind of odd to our, but raza for animals means breed. Okay, y la raza del perro se llama pastor alemán. Pastor alemán es German shepherd. Okay. Tienen dos pastores alemanes. We had to make that plural. Uno se llama Champ y el otro se llama Major. La familia Biden adoptó. You've got another odd thing. Wait a minute. That looks like an odd conjugation. No, es muy lógico. If you know that this comes from adoptar, and you know it looks like an English word, that O just makes it past. Adoptó. Adopted. Mayor, de un refugio de animales, from an animal shelter. We would use the word shelter, but you know that refugio means refuge, because yeah, and we instead of refuge would say shelter. Cuando apenas era un cachorro, era, here comes was. Era un cachorro when he was a pup. Yeah. Puppy es cachorro. En el 2018. Champ tiene 12 años. Champ is 12 years old. La familia Biden también ha insinuado, has hinted que podrían adoptar un gato. But you got a double verb combo. And podría just means could. It's conditional. Could, might, not can right now, not could in the past, but could as in perhaps. We don't know.
Ahora, uno de los perros no está en la Casa Blanca.
Creo los dos, porque son muy amiguitos, because they're really buddies. Porque
Okay.
son muy amiguitos. Sí, se mudaron, they moved. Se mudaron los dos animales la semana pasada, ¿no?
Sí.
Creo que Mayor, el menor, the younger one, sí, mordió a alguien.
Right.
Pobre. No, Mayor no está acostumbrado. He is not accustomed. No está acostumbrado a las personas de seguridad en la
Sí.
casa nueva y mordió a alguien.
Sí.
Y creo que se mudaron los dos. I think they moved both of them. Sí, los dos, porque son amigos, son compañeros. Y es mejor si los dos están juntos como amiguitos, ¿no? Qué lástima. Pues, así. Okay. Oh, here's something we're going to look at hopefully later today. Le encantan los autos. I'm going to underline this because this is something we're going to look at later today. Me encantan, le encanta. We're going to look at this in conjunction with gustar. Le encantan los autos. He loves cars. And this is how we talk about love when it's not romantic love. When it's, and I'm extremely excited about. So when you want to say that you like something, but you don't just like it, you really love it. When you want to elevate gustar, we change gustar into an entirely different verb, okay? Le encantan los autos. He loves cars. And we'll talk about why that's an N. What it really means is that cars are exciting for him. Cars are delightful to him. And that sentence kind of works backwards. Whatever is at the end tells you the thing that is intensely liked. Le encantan los autos. He loves cars. El padre de Biden vendía. Vendía looks like it comes from vender, right? Vender is to sell. And this is a past. Okay, but this is an ia and it means used to. It means used to. Ia, ia. Ia is past used to. His dad used to do this. It was his job, so he did it over and over and over again. So you know that vender means to sell. Vendía, his dad used to sell. Vendía. El padre de Biden vendía autos en un concesionario. Cuando su hijo se casó, en casarse, we haven't talked about that verb. Did anybody look that verb up?
Which one? Caso?
Casarse. It's a reflexive verb. It means to get married.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is an at the end, it's a past. And you know, getting married is an event. Hopefully you don't do it over and over and over again. If you do, well, keep trying till you get it, you know. But se casó it makes it a past. Se casó. Cuando su hijo Joe se casó, when his son Joe got married, and here le dio. Le dio comes from dar, muy irregular. And this is pasado, past of dar.
Gave
He
him
gave. And what's that le, guys, in the front?
him.
Him.
Him. He gave him. Now, he didn't give him away, so it's not lo. He gave something to him. And the le is to him. Le dio un automóvil. Here's the thing that was given, un automóvil. There's the direct object, gave him a car. And he gave it to him. And that is why it's le dio, gave to him. Le dio, gave him a car. Le dio un automóvil como regalo de bodas, as a wedding
Gift.
El presidente todavía lo conduce. Wow. He still drives it. And what is lo talking about?
The car.
El automóvil.
Mhm.
Lo is replacing automóvil because we just said un automóvil. We don't want to say un automóvil conduce a un automóvil, we want to just replace it with a lo, because you know what drives it. We already talked about automóvil. We don't want to be repetitive. So todavía lo conduce, still drives it. The lo is talking about automóvil. Okay, me encanta, I love. It's like saying me gusta, but elevating it to a higher level of excitement. Me encanta ese auto. I love that car. Solo tengo recuerdos increíbles. I just have incredible memories. Dijo, said. And you'll see this a lot in articles. It just means said. Okay? It just makes decir past. Dijo. Es católico practicante. He is a practicing Catholic. Biden será, and será is future of ser. So here's what you need to know. Oh, ser is built in, right? To be. And when you see the whole infinitive, ser is not, it doesn't have the ER cut off. When you see a verb in its entirety, it's going to be one of two tenses, and it's likely it'll be future. This is future. Will be. Será. Will be. Okay. To be. And this one is actually, I should put it in as will be. Ooh. Oops. My cursor jumped. Will be. Será. Será. Será el segundo presidente católico de los Estados Unidos. El catolicismo es una rama del cristianismo. Rama, a branch. A sect, a branch, you know, una rama. A rama is literally a branch off of a tree, but when we talk about a branch, because, you know, Christianity has many, many branches, many, many flavors or types, right? Not Baptist, not Presbyterian, not, you know. Okay. El primer presidente católico estadounidense fue John F. Kennedy. Fue, was. There's that was that came back, was. Okay. Prestó. Prestó aquí. Prestó viene de prestar. So when you come up like on a verb like this, just look up the infinitive. Prestar means to swear. And not like cussing swearing. Not that kind of swearing. Swearing as in pledging one's loyalty. Pledging one's loyalty. That kind of swearing, yeah. This kind of swear is the good kind of swear. It's es una promesa. It's the promise kind of swear. Yeah, it's the promise kind of swear. And the O makes it pass. Prestó juramento para el Senado, the Senate de los Estados Unidos en un hospital. He took his pledge.
Sworn.
Yeah, he pledged allegiance in the Senate. He took the oath. This is the way of saying he took the oath. He took the oath of office. He took the oath of office. He swore juramento. He swore loyalty. That's a long way to say that. Prestó juramento. He took the oath of office para el Senado de los Estados Unidos en un hospital. La primera esposa e hija de Biden murieron. And this comes from morir, to die. And morir is irregular in this sense, and it's a past, but it kind of looks like it might be from morir, except it doesn't have an M-O, it's got an M-U, okay? Murieron, died, murieron en un accidente automovilístico, died in a car accident. Sus hijos, Bo y Hunter, también resultaron gravemente heridos. They were also gravely injured or seriously injured. Seriously, as in, you know, something that is a bad level is grave. So gravemente, gravely injured. Esto ocurrió, and this comes from ocurrir. occurred, it happened. Ocurrir es como pasar. It's kind of like pasar. Ocurrir is to happen. And this one is past because it's got that punch of the O at the end. Ocurrió, it happened en diciembre de 1972. Biden acababa de ser elegido senador. Oh, you know, acabar de.
It was just
You know,
elected to be
yeah.
senator.
You know, acabar de. And you know, se acababa de ser had just been elected. Acababa de ser elegido. And acababa is a past, okay, of acabar. Acababa de ser had just been elected. Prestó juramento en un hospital mientras cuidaba a sus hijos. Cuidaba comes from cuidar. Cuidar means to take care of. I'm going to phrase that as take care of. And here it's was taking care of. Mientras cuidaba a sus hijos. So he did this one event, prestó, okay, you know, la mano en la Biblia, hand on the Bible, prestó juramento, he took his oath, prestó juramento en el hospital, but it's a one-time event. He took his oath while he was taking care of his kids, and that was going on before he prestó juramento, and it was still going on after he prestó juramento. So the thing you're learning now is that there are two past tenses. One is a very finalized, over and done, one-time event, or very easy to define in a certain period of time and you know it's over with. And one is events that were going on over and over and over again. Okay. A ver. Aquí vamos. Here we go. Se presentó a la presidencia 3 veces. Se presentó. Yeah, they do not use run for office. Ooh, yeah, I gotta get rid of my bolds here. Presentarse means to run. Presentarse means to run for office. So the O at the end makes it past. Presentarse means to run for office. That's the verb they use for that. They don't use correr. Okay. Se presentó a la presidencia 3 veces. So now, even though this was done a bunch of times, we know it was only 3
times.
And when it's a definite number, it goes into that over with past. Presentó. Se presentó por primera vez. He ran the first time a la presidencia en 1987. Luego, later, afterwards, se presentó in a definite time because we have a certain year. Se presentó en 2008. Se retiró de esa campaña. This is why we do not use retirar for retire. This retirar means retire, but this means retire as in withdraw.
Mhm.
This means to withdraw, to take yourself out of, which is what you do when you retire, but they use a different verb for it. Jubilarse is what we used to say you retire. Okay, I know you took yourself out of the workplace, but yeah. Se retiró. Here, this is a truly taking yourself out. He didn't retire from politics. He just took himself out of that race. Se retiró de esa campaña. He took himself out of that race. Y luego apareció. Aparecer means to appear, what you might guess. But it's past, okay, because it's got that punch at the end. En la papeleta, junto que, papeleta is
Ballot, the
a
ballot.
ballot. You know that papel is paper,
Yeah.
and the eta on the end, you know, when you think of a ballot, like the old fashioned ballots used to be kind of a long, well, they still are, except they're son enormes. Here they're enormous, right? Some states, depending on how you print it, they might be long. Papeleta. Con Obama. En su tercer intento, on his third try. En su tercer intento, Biden ganó. And you know that ganar looks, this looks like ganar, but it looks like the wrong conjugation. Well, it's not wrong because it's past. Ganar comes from ganar.
Win.
To win, right? But it's past. Ganó en noviembre de 2020. And now we have one. So they're talking about tres veces, 3 times, okay? Biden ganó en noviembre de 2020. Kamala Harris será su vicepresidenta. And now we've got será, and that's just will be. And this was written before the swearing in. So it's future. And now, of course, we
Marilyn?
would just say yes. Sí.
When you're saying vice president, it always is put together in Spanish.
Sí. Yeah, quite often. I mean, sometimes I see it split up as 2 words, but, you know, and I don't think about it too much until I see it in print, because when you say it, it all runs together anyway. Vicepresidenta. And notice it's presidenta. They put it into a feminine form, like jefa. Boss, a lady boss becomes jefa. Okay. Okay, so that does happen. Yeah, but they've run it together. Some places I do see it separated as 2 or hyphenated. So I think it kind of depends on regionally. Some regions do it a little bit different, but vicepresidenta. Yeah. Okay. Almorzaba. Almorzaba looks like almorzar. And almorzar is to eat lunch. Right? To eat lunch. And we've got an ala. Almorzar is to eat lunch. And this has got an ala ending, and that means used to. So that's saying that it was done over and over again on a regular basis. It was a habit. Almorzar con Obama todos. Oh, and here's how we know it was a habit. Todas las manzanas, or todas las semanas, perdón, not todas las semanas, every week. Yeah. And that's why it's not almorzó, it's almorzaba. He used to. Almorzaba, he used to eat lunch. El presidente Obama y Biden son muy buenos amigos, are very good friends. Almorzaban, they used to. Almorzaban juntos todas las manzanas, or las manzanas, all the apples, todas las semanas. I don't know why I've got manzanas stuck on my brain. Todas las semanas, every week. Obama comentó, and you know that this looks like an English word, and it probably comes from this. Yeah, commented, mentioned, commented, comentó. Que he commented that, he said that. Biden siempre sería, would be, the sería is would be. Sería la última persona con la que hablaría. You know that hablar means to talk. So you can kind of surmise that this means Biden would always be the person with whom he would talk. Antes de tomar una decisión importante.
Before making an
Before it
important
decision.
decision.
Yeah, so what I want you to know about this is that this tomar una decisión is to make a decision. Tomar, you know, as to take or to eat or to drink, but when we say make a decision, they don't say hacer una decisión. They phrase that as tomar una decisión. We use the word make in English with decision. They prefer an active word, take. A very active word, tomar una decisión. You grab the opportunity in Spanish. You take a decision. Tomar una decisión. Biden también hizo una promesa. Hizo, now you got a word that truly you would not know what this is. But hizo comes from hacer, muy irregular. It's a past form of hacer. Hizo una promesa. He made a promise. Usted tome su decisión. You make your decision. Que yo la cumpliré hasta la muerte. I will, cumplir is to fulfill. Or carry out. I will, this is a future. I will fill it, I will carry it out. Hasta la muerte. Woo. Prometió. Promised. Prometer, to promise.
Accomplish.
Prometió. ¿Sí?
Mhm.
Honró comes from honrar. To honor, because it's got a punch at the end. You know it's past. Honró a Biden con la medalla presidencial de la libertad, presidential medal of freedom. We wouldn't say liberty, we would say freedom instead of liberty, pero es libertad. Poco antes de dejar el cargo. Poco antes, a little before. Poco antes de, a little before leaving. Dejar,
Is
leaving, el cargo, office. And we don't, why don't we use oficina? We don't use oficina for office.
the physical off. It's a
This
physical
cargo
office.
word, this word cargo means office as in a job that you do. Oficina is a physical office, okay? But cargo is a position that someone works in. So if you say an office, he fulfills the job of being a manager, gerente, that's a cargo. If somebody works as a doctor, that's cargo, an office, a job they fulfill. So they use a different word. They don't use oficina for office, for political, because oficina is an actual physical space. It's a room. Okay, so the job itself is called cargo. Okay,
Marilyn?
Sí, sí.
Yes, getting back to cargo and officina, when I'm doing my Duolingo, I've also seen them say
Empleo.
trabajo.
Oh, trabajo, right, okay. So trabajo might be used. That can mean job, el trabajo. El empleo also means job, like employment. That can be used. Cargo is a little more official word. So cargo is kind of a heavier word. It's, you know, a job you do because it's a mission that you have. It's got more weight than trabajo or empleo.
Finish your term.
Term. Cargo could mean, yeah, we could imply that as term. Yeah. Term of office, yeah. Sí, eso es. Okay, ese es el mayor honor que puede recibir. Yay, we've got a 2-verb combo. Puede recibir alguien que no está en el ejército de los Estados Unidos. This is the biggest, el mayor, the biggest, the most, you know, yeah, the biggest, el mayor, the greatest, el mayor honor, the greatest honor that one can receive. Que puede recibir alguien, somebody, that somebody can receive who is not in the army. Okay. Oh, le encanta el helado. He loves. Here's the
Ice
loves
cream.
good. He loves ice cream. Le encanta el helado. Como mucho helado. I eat lots of ice cream. Dijo, said. Here's our dijo buried in there. Dijo, said. Bien, sus nietos, his grandkids, dicen que, they say that. They didn't say in the past, they say it right now. Dicen que siempre está comiendo helado. He's always
Eating ice cream.
ice cream. Dicen de broma. They say in jest. De broma means, you know, not seriously, as a joke.
Joking,
Broma is a
jokingly.
joke. De broma. Dicen de broma que Biden esconde.
He hides it.
Hides, esconde su envases. Envase is a container.
Dish. Okay.
Yeah, and envase would be like, you know, a tub of ice cream. Envase is just a big container. You wouldn't use caja because caja is a box that you ship something out in. Envase is a container that holds something, okay? He hides his tubs of ice cream or his, I don't know, what do we call that? It's not a jar.
A tub, I think a tub.
Yeah, a tub. He hides his tubs of ice cream para que la abuela no los vea. He hides those tubs of ice cream so that
I
grandma
won't see them.
doesn't see them. Here's that los word. And the los is talking about what?
Ice cream.
It's talking about the tubs of ice
Ice
cream.
cream.
And because tubs is more than one, we shortened that whole long phrase of sus envases de helado to the one word los. So you're seeing how los works, right? Okay. Y por fin 10. Wow, and I got to hustle through this. Su película favorita es Carrozas de Fuego. His favorite film is Chariots of Fire. Carrozas is a chariot, a cart. Yeah, okay, something with wheels that's being dragged along by an animal. Yeah, Carrozas de Fuego. La película favorita de Biden es Carrozas de Fuego, Chariots of Fire. La película se trata de, tratarse de is to be about. Tratarse de es muy especial. That's a special verb. It's a verb that we use to say that a movie is about, a book is about, a play is about. Okay, se trata de. It treats of something, literally. But that's what they use where we use the phrase to be about. Se trata de. Se, and it must be in those. Se trata de. It's reflexive.
Mhm.
And you know that reflexive is like brush your teeth, comb your hair, take a shower. But some reflexive verbs just are. And they don't have anything to do with about yourself. This is one of those odd things, but this is a very good thing to know because people may ask, oh, you saw a movie. ¿De qué se trata? What's it about? Un programa de tele, a show on TV. ¿De qué se trata? Okay, unos ejemplos, some examples how we use se trata de, se trata de. Por ejemplo, The Mandalorian se trata de un Bebé Yoda. It's about a baby Yoda. See? Y un héroe and a hero. Por ejemplo, Sex and the City se trata de unas amigas jóvenes en Nueva York. Bien, ok. Por ejemplo, la Biblia se trata de la historia de los judíos y la historia de Jesús. ¿Sí? Dos testamentos, two testaments, ¿sí? Bien, ok. ¿Entienden? You understand, right? ¿Sí? Se trata. And part of your homework for next week is going to be to use se trata for a little presentation. Ok, se trata. Ok, la película se trata de unos atletas británicos. Some British friends.
British athlete.
Yeah, athletes. Sí, a Biden le gustó, and there's the past of gustar, le gustó mucho una escena en la que un atleta se niega a correr, refuses to run. Here is a double verb phrase with a verb you have not seen. Okay, but you see that we've got the first one conjugated, se niega, refuses to. Se niega a correr, refuses to run. Un día domingo, he refuses to run on a Sunday. This person is way more religious than I. Se negó debido. He refused because of. Debido a means because of, due to. Because of. Debido a sus creencias religiosas. He refused to run because of his religious beliefs. Biden dijo que, said that, dijo que, said that. El corredor antepuso sus principios a la fama, put his principles ahead of fame.
Okay.
Eso para mí, this, in my opinion, the para mí means he's giving an opinion for me. And it means I'm giving my thoughts on this. This is my opinion. Eso para mí es una muestra de verdadero heroísmo. This for me is,
Sample.
yeah, true heroism.
Mhm.
Is truly heroism, giving up everything because you believe in something else so much. Comentó, he commented. Y el fin. Okay. Vale. Para tarea, for homework, I want you to bring a show and tell and bring something more exciting than this.
Oh, dear.
I want you to talk about something and what it means. I'm going to take down this share and I'm going to put up a different share screen. La tarea, homework. La tarea. Okay. Se trata de. You're going to talk about what something is about. Y la pregunta es, ¿de qué se trata tu libro favorito o tu película favorita o tu programa de la tele favorito? Anything at all. ¿De qué se trata? What's it about? I want you to bring If you have a prop, like a little DVD box or a book that you can show us, that's great. If you don't, that's okay too. But I want you to share some ideas. I want everybody to take a turn talking about what your book is about. Now, very briefly, don't give us the whole plot, but, make it brief. 2, maybe 3 sentences. Dos o tres frases, 2 or 3 sentences. Keep it in present. Don't go into past tense. Keep it very, very simple, but something that just tells the general idea of your favorite TV show, movie, play, drama, libro, book, something easy. ¿Está bien?
So we have to do all this, or we can pick. Do you want us to do it like all?
You pick one thing.
Okay.
Una cosa, one thing. I just want to broaden it. Some people don't read a lot. It may be a movie. Some people have a TV show they're very excited about. Talk about that. No importa, it doesn't matter. Don't pick all 3. But 2 or 3 sentences so that we get an idea about the general idea. La idea muy general, ¿verdad? Bien?
Bien.
Okay, vale. Let's take a look. Ooh, this took way longer. I'm not getting to my gustado. I'll have to get to that next week. Okay, a ver. Bueno, vamos a hablar un poquito de ver y mirar y todo eso, all that. So we've got some things that are going to help us before we take a look at some pictures. Ver, to see, mirar, to look, or to watch. Oh, but wait a minute. Sometimes we use ver for to watch. Oh, qué confusión. What confusion. Okay. And I'll give you a link to this page, and they just should give you all the forms of ver. You don't need to know all the different, look at all those tenses. You don't really need to know them. But, when you just see as in perceive something, it's ver, right? It's just, ver is just a matter of perception in most cases. I saw your mother yesterday, and they used a past here. In present, it would be veo, but in pasado, it's vi. Vi a tu madre, vi a tu madre. And the a tu madre is the part, remember, if you see a human being, you need that a, right? And it doesn't mean anything at all when you translate it. But vi a tu madre ayer en el mercado. I saw your mother yesterday at the market. Todos los días veo a mi vecino. Every day I see my neighbor. Todos los días veo a mi vecino caminar con su perro. It would not be appropriate to use miro because you don't watch. That's kind of creepy. Maybe it is. If you're doing that creepy thing, then it's miro. Yeah. You're that neighbor that looks out. That person. They look out of the blinds of the curtain, and they watch. There's always one bizarre person in every neighborhood who does that. And then it is mirar, right? But for most of us, para las personas normales, it's just ver, because you just see stuff. You're not like spying on them. Yesterday, I saw your cat on my roof. Ayer, vi a tu gato. But, for today, hoy, veo. Bello. Today I see bello, okay? And oddly enough, for watching a show, sports, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, like for people who always watch a certain sport, this is where often in English you say I watch, and you think, well, watch is mirar, but really for this, most of the time, ver is what is used. So mañana veré, you could say voy a ver, I'm going to see, but veré is future. Estamos viendo, we are watching. They're just putting this in all kinds of tenses. Los niños están viendo, they are watching. Last time we saw vimos, but vemos, we see. Okay. Let's see the new store, as in just coming in and visiting one time. Here's one thing I want to show you to talk about a possible results, because this term here is used quite a lot. Ya veré, ya verás. You will see, ya verás. People use that. You know, you ask for directions. ¿Dónde está el museo? Where's the museum? Está muy cerca. It's very close. Tiene que caminar solamente una cuadra. You're only gonna walk one block. Ya verás. You'll see it. Ya verás. You'll see it. You'll see what happens. Ya veré qué pasa. You'll see what happens. Ya verás or ya verá is a really common thing for people to say. Okay. No veo la diferencia. I don't see the difference. To indicate understanding. This is an odd use of verb, but it's reflexive. Verse, to see oneself, and that means look. ¿Cómo me veo hoy? How do I look today? ¿Cómo me veo? And it doesn't mean I'm looking at myself. ¿Cómo me veo? How do I look? Meaning, do I look bad? Do I look sloppy? Yeah, that kind of thing. How does this dress look on me? ¿Te gusta cómo se me ve? How does the wound, cómo se ve la herida? How does it look? Tengo un nuevo corte de pelo. I've not got a new haircut. ¿Cómo se ve? How does it look? Yeah, verse. Some reflexive verbs have odd meanings. Se trata de is about. Verse looks like. How does it look? How does it appear to us? So that's kind of an interesting use of ver. When to use mirar? Mirar has more an idea of, I like this idea of saying checking it out. You know, really watching something more intently. And this shows you all the different conjugations. You really don't need to know all of them, but look at all, punch at the end, past, 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 punch at the end. Oh, used to, aba. There you go. Pay attention. Mirar means you're really paying attention. And this is often, a mi hermana le gusta mirar los pájaros. She likes to watch birds and really ponder them, to look at and think about it a lot. That's mirar. Mira ese auto. Look at that car. This is what's used when somebody says, look at that. Mira, mira, mira. It's a command. Mira, look at that. Or a formal command. Mire, mire, mire. Mire. Right? Look how I do it. Mira cómo lo hago. Look how I do it. Watch how I do it. Watch how this is happening. Mira cómo lo hago yo. Look at how I do it. Y luego intenta. And later on, you try to do the same. To ask for attention at a situation. Look at what's happening. Mira lo que está sucediendo. Look at this. Mira esto. Look at this. So mira is used a lot as a command. And not ver so much as a command. When you're saying a command like, look at this, it's mirar. Almost all the time, it's mirar. Okay? And buscar is look for. Okay? So we're going to take a look. I'm running shorter on time than I want to. Okay. We're going to seg to this one, como siempre. We looked at these last week. We're looking here. Aquí.
Buscar. You buscar.
Yes, sí, buscar. ¿Por
Busca.
qué? ¿Por qué?
El
¿Por qué
busca.
buscar?
Él busca buenos chocolates.
Okay. El hombre busca. We might say about this. And now we might say different things, but you know, buscar is probably the best first one. Okay, vamos a ver. El hombre busca.
Dulces.
¿Qué busca?
Or you have to use hombre, el hombre, instead of just el.
Oh, we could use, sí, él. Él busca. Él busca, ¿qué son? ¿Chocolates? O...
Buenos chocolates.
Sí, busca comida, busca comida. Let's make it really general. Busca comida, busca comida. Busca su marca favorita. He's looking for his favorite brand. Brand, marca, brand.
Marca.
Busca su
Ah.
marca favorita. But I might say, no ve su marca favorita. No ve su marca favorita. He does not
Sí.
see his favorite brand, which is a little different from busca.
Ujú.
Buscar literally is to be in search of something, to go actively in search of something, okay? But we say look for. What word is missing out of that sentence? Busca, él busca comida. In English, we say he looks for.
No para.
The for is missing because we don't need that word for. Busca. Él busca comida. We don't need a for. That's built into the word. Busca su marca favorita. No ve su marca favorita. He does not see. And you might say, mira los estantes. He's looking at the shelves, maybe. But, okay, a ver. Bueno, a ver, aquí. ¿Qué buscan? What are they looking for? ¿Qué buscan? ¿Qué busca él? ¿Qué busca él? ¿Qué busca?
Camisa.
Camisas.
Él busca una nueva camisa.
Una-
Busca una nueva camisa. Bien, busca una nueva camisa en la tienda de ropa. Busca
Ujú.
una nueva camisa en la tienda de ropa. Bien.
Can you
que-
say mira for that guy? Because he
You
kind of like look at it.
Sí, es una posibilidad. So we're using this to look at different things one might say, but how the meaning shifts a little bit, right? So I might say busca una nueva camisa, but I might also say
Mira.
mira la
Una-
camisa azul. He's looking at
Ujú.
the blue shirt. Busca una nueva camisa. He's looking for a new shirt. But slightly change the meaning when I say, mira la camisa azul. He's looking at the blue
the
one.
blue.
Okay, because this is the one he is looking. He's in search of a new shirt, but he's looking at this specific one. Bien? See? Okay. Bien. Okay. A ver. I might say ellas, and we're going to change the form a little bit because we're going to be talking about ellas. Está bien, ¿no?
Buscan.
Buscan, sí, ellas buscan, ¿bien?
Una ropa bonita.
Ropa bonita, claro. Buscan ropa bonita. Buscan ropa bonita. And they haven't got a specific one out. Ooh. It's hiding my text size. Aquí. Okay. Muy bien. Buscan ropa bonita. Buscan ropa bonita. There's not one specific one they have out. So maybe not a mira here. Okay. A ver. I might say then, what if they don't see anything interesting? They don't see anything interesting. ¿Cómo se expresa? How do we express that idea?
No ve.
No ven?
No ven
Then,
nada.
oh,
No ven nada interesante. No ven nada interesante. So what we're trying to show you here is different ways we can use all these verbs, or many of these verbs, right? Same situation, but they're conveying a slightly different idea. ¿Entienden?
Mhm.
Okay, bien. No ven nada interesante. They don't see anything interesting. Okay. A ver, aquí. Aquí tenemos
mira,
otra idea. Here we've got a different idea. I need to bring this to the front. Okay, aquí.
miran,
Miran, they're looking at, yeah, that looks like a really definite looking at. Okay. Bueno,
miran zapatos para caminar,
miran zapatos
caminar,
para correr o para caminar.
caminar.
Caminar. Miran zapatos para caminar.
Mhm.
Bien. Okay. Miran zapatos. They're looking at them. And what buscan equipo. They're looking at equipment. Buscan equipo para acampar. Para las vacaciones de acampar. They're looking for
Camping.
Camping trip,
camping,
Camping
equipment for a
trip.
camping trip. So this gives you some ideas of things you might say, right? Okay. What I would like you to do, besides bringing one show and tell, and I'm going to not have this on, I will not have a Post-it board. So maybe apuntar, maybe take some notes. I want you to look at this picture, esta foto, and think of two different ways you might use, or two different verbs, maybe how you might use either buscar or ver or mirar. Okay. I want you to look at this, estas fotos, and talk about, think of some ideas of how you might use ver or buscar or mirar. Okay. Bien. And bring those ideas to class, and we'll talk about those two pictures. Bien, see? And this is really gonna, this could throw out lots of different ideas, right? Because they might, well, really, yeah, you can apply almost everything to this one. And I might add one extra photo. I'll probably add one extra photo down here. So there'll be a número 8. Habrá número 8. There'll be a number 8. I'll add one brand new one in there. So you're going to prep some ideas to use for this. You're going to come with an idea of mi libro favorito se trata de, talk about your favorite book or movie or TV show or whatever it might be. And we are going to talk about gustar and a couple of verbs that are like gustar. Okay, vale. Do you want a reading for the week? Sí o no? ¿Un artículo? Sí, sí, ok. Un artículo. Voy a buscar un artículo apropiado. I am going to look for an appropriate article, something that doesn't have too much past tense in it. Espero, I hope. And I will look for a good article and send that your way as well. ¿Está bien?
About the book, Pobriana, do you want us to read this week as well, or what?
Oh, no. No,
Okay.
I brought this up to get people's opinions. How many people would prefer a little novelita with a continuing thread of thought and a lot of repetition? Yes, more? Okay, that always seems to be. These are really, and this will be for spring. This is not for now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
This is not for right now.
Okay.
This will be for spring because, otherwise you're looking at hustling. We just got 1 week.
All right.
We've got
No
a week of
rush.
hiatus, a break week. And yeah, no, this is just, I wanted to prepare so that people know what's coming. I wanted your preferences before I just planned something willy-nilly
Okay.
without
Marilyn?
telling anybody. See,
You had mentioned that we should have our books today. Was there something
did.
we should be looking at in there?
yes, okay.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we're gonna look, gracias, thank you for saying that. And I've got my book marked. We are gonna take I have my book marked, but I marked the wrong page. Well, that's super unhelpful. I want you to take a look at and review. En la página 153. I want you to review 153, 153. I want you to review gustar. Gustar and the direct object. Now, they're going to kind of get into the weeds. So we're going to only take maybe like 3. Oh, I've got to pick. I kid you not. They've got, we're only going to pick 3 verbs, and I know which ones we're going to use. We're going to talk about what you really, really like and what you really, really hate. The 2 opposites next week. Okay, so just look at gustar and nothing else, because they're going to get a great big long laundry list of verbs that work like gustar. And to be honest, if you look at that great big long laundry list, it's kind of overwhelming. So we're going to take like the pinnacle, the absolute best, and cantar and gustar, and we're going to take the bottom, the dregs, the I don't like this stuff, molestar.
Oh, molestar.
Molestar sounds like to molest,
Molest.
which it doesn't mean at all. Well, it does, but in a really non-sexual way. It means to bother or to annoy, something that bugs you, something that just, it's that it annoys you. You can't, not so strong as can't stand it. That's a little strong, but this annoys me. This bothers me. Okay.
So then molest has a different word in Spanish, like for the molest itself in English.
Yeah, molestar
use
is
the
very,
same?
molestar in Spanish is very, very widely used all the time to just say that something annoys you.
Yeah.
So, 15-year-olds would think this is something very naughty. I'm going to have fun using it. And it's not very naughty at all. It's not at all naughty. It's just saying that something is bothersome to you. So, your car breaking down, me molesta. That bothers me. Cuando los gatos vomitan, when the cats throw up a hairball, me molesta. It got nothing to do with a nasty, nefarious thing. It's just, it bugs me, Cuando mi familia no lava los platos, when my family doesn't wash the dishes, me molesta. It hasn't got nothing to do with terrible things that want, put you in jail. No. Okay. Bien. And people use it all the time, molestar, a lot. So, because how many times, are you annoyed by a lot of things? Of course
Yes.
you are. Of course you are. Okay, so we got a lot of things to work for the last, our last session for winter. Spring will start up April 5th. So we've got 1 week off in between, and they do that 1 week off in between for people who missed a session, like the instructor was ill and they reschedule a makeup week. But we'll start up April 5th. I will have my first vaccine tomorrow.
Oh.
Hey,
Mañana.
My second one is on Wednesday.
Oh, magnifico. Okay, yeah.